Hello everyone and welcome back to In-Depth for the Cycle. Today we'll be looking at the first green tier weapon, the Scarab. To begin with, the Scarab is a pistol. It is unlocked from Osiris at faction level 2 and has a buy price of 3,900 K marks. It has a penetration value of 17, a direct damage value of 13, a reload time of 1.93 seconds, that's pretty quick, a mag size of 15, meaning you'll be able to pull the trigger 5 times before you have to reload because you'll have 5 bursts. A projectile speed of 24,000 or 240 meters per second, and a movement speed of 1, which means you move at 100% of your movement speed with this weapon out. Here we'll get into ranges. This weapon has a range fall-off start of 15 meters, and a fall-off end of 30 meters, where at that 30 meters and on, you'll be doing half your damage, which is 6.5, and then it'll be taken down further by armor. This weapon, however, has a headshot multiplier of 1.5, meaning you do 50% more damage if you hit a headshot. Something I want to mention is that this weapon is a burst weapon, so it has a burst interval for the rounds per minute, which means that there's a small delay in between shooting your next burst. The burst interval for this weapon is 0.07 seconds. It's not an amazing thing to know, but some of you out there might appreciate knowing that. And it's important to take note of that whenever we talk about the rounds per minute, or the RPM. So the RPM is 529 rounds per minute. Remember, this thing fires 3 rounds every single time you pull the trigger, so take that into account. When I talk about DPS here, I'll be adjusting it to uncommon armor because that's what this weapon is designed to go up against because of its penetration values, so that's going to be the baseline for what we're talking about here. The baseline DPS for this weapon against uncommon armor with shots to the body is 115. With shots to the head, that will move you up to 172. The time to empty the mag is 1.36 seconds. And your time to kill on the body shots is 0.68 seconds. When you go for headshots, it'll be halved, so it'll be 0.34 seconds. This weapon can kill scary fast if it's in the right ranges, and you're landing your bursts. But it can also be extremely unforgiving if you're not landing your bursts because that one bullet happened to miss. The closest thing I can compare this to is the Phasic Lancer, so when we do our comparison, that's what I'll be talking about. There are some similarities, a lot of them, but there's also some differences because you're comparing a pistol to an AR, obviously, so we'll talk about that when we get there. Okay, after all my droning on, we're finally getting into the shots to kill for each armor type. So, against common armor, it is going to take you 9 shots to kill, or 3 bursts, and against headshots, it will take you 6 shots to kill, or 2 bursts. Remember, this is assuming that all of your shots in the burst land. Moving into uncommon armor, the armor this is designed for, guess what? No change. It's 9 shots to kill to the body, or 3 bursts, and 6 shots to the head, or 2 bursts. Rare armor again, same thing. 9 shots to kill, 3 bursts, headshots, 2 bursts, or 6 shots to kill. I think some of you by this point are finally understanding how scarily consistent this thing is by now. Anyway, moving into the epic armor, you have 12 shots to kill, or 4 bursts. And then moving into headshots, you have 3 bursts, or 9 shots to kill. And for exotic armor, your shots from epic to exotic don't change. It's the exact same. To put this in perspective, if you are accurate enough, and at the right ranges, you can put someone in exotic armor down in less than 1 mag. That is scary for a pistol. The biggest downside of this thing is that it is a pistol, and that range is going to be your biggest letdown. Trying to take people outside of the ranges that you can fully take on is where you're going to notice that things starting to be more and more inconsistent, where it's not doing the damage that you're hoping it's doing. So trust me, stay indoors and close quarters. Oh, and the hipfire in this thing is horrifying, by the way. If you can't aim and they're close, hipfire, trust me. One of the unfortunate things about this weapon is that you can't put a sight on it, along with most of the pistols in the game. Luckily, the sights on this thing aren't terrible to use. They're good for the ranges you're supposed to be using this weapon at. Quickly looking at the side-by-side between the Phasic and the Scarab, they have the same direct damage, they have the same burst amount, they have the same shots to kill all the way up until epic and exotic. The biggest difference between these two is that their ranges are different, because obviously it's a pistol versus an assault rifle. The assault rifle wins in the range battle. It's always going to happen that way, not to mention the fall-off multiplier is not as bad for the assault rifle as it is for the pistol. You're doing 75% of your damage with the assault rifle, the Phasic Lancer, rather than the 50% of your damage with this pistol. Now, I say that not to discourage you from using the Scarab, but to show you that it is scarily close in terms of like the profile to a Phasic Lancer. So trust me when I say this thing will dumpster people at close range if you're aiming properly. Looking at the converters real quick, the converter does nothing for you. It doesn't change your body shots to kill, and it doesn't change your headshots to kill. It does increase your damage, but it's not enough to change your shots to kill for either the body or the head. You can still use one if you're like in a team with somebody where that little bit of damage might help your buddy get to finish off the kill, but not going to help you if you're solo. Moving on to the build, straight into the magazine, I noticed that with this weapon, I die while trying to reload and get that last burst in. So, I'm going with the quick draw mag on this thing, and I'm going with the highest rarity I can afford, the Epic Light quick draw mag. For the muzzle, I can recommend for you to pick your favorite. You can reduce the recoil because it does have a little bit of kick that deviates those burst shots. Or you can pick up a suppressor if you're wanting to stay under the radar. For the rear grip, it depends on what you picked for your muzzle. If you picked the suppressor, I would recommend reducing the recoil here with the ergonomic grip. If you picked the recoil reducing option on the muzzle, I would go for the tactical grip here to aim down sights faster. And since we're not doing a converter on players, I would recommend putting a creature one on to deal with creatures. This thing dumpsters PvE pretty easily. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you're enjoying the cycle content, consider subscribing and hitting the like button. I also have a new Discord that I have for you guys down in the description below. And at the top right, I'll have a video for you going over the C32 Bulls action. Check it out. Have a good day.